There are several settings in Assassin's Creed Shadows that you should change immediately to smooth out your experience, either make the game easier or harder, or both, or just completely change it overall. Let's go. I want to start with some of the initial decisions that you'll make as you hit new game and talk about exactly what they do, and then we'll cover some other settings that you should change later in this video. First, we'll start with the guided versus exploration modes. Initially, I had this off because it does tell you that some achievements cannot be unlocked in guided exploration mode. However, that is apparently only one achievement that is specifically linked to just using like the scouting feature. So if you use it once, you've essentially unlocked the trophy and you're fine. But let's explain what that actually does. So when you have this feature off, there is a mechanic in the game that uses your scouts to search the map to find objectives from your objective screen. That is any target, any quest, anything like that. You'll actually need to use the clues that it gives you on your objective screen. It'll say like, this might be over in the Omi region of the map. You might find it southwest of this location, and they could be found in like this district or something. Now, for the most part, you will have to have been to those areas in the first place to actually see, oh, okay, you know, this is where this castle is located, so I guess I know that this is going to be southwest-ish or west of here, whatever it is. And then you can use the scout feature to scout that area. It'll scout like a circular block. The more scouts you use, the larger that area that it will scout is. If you get that right, then it will actually mark the objective on your map and you can physically go to that location. Now, your scouts are a limited resource that will refresh at the season progress point, or if you go to your hideout or any of those mini hideouts, you can actually refresh it for some currency cost as well. So you've only got a limited amount of these. So if you're going to be clearing through objectives as fast as you want to, or as fast as you can, you will run out of scouts, especially because they are useful for smuggling resources, which is very important for your hideout, because you will need the hideout resources just for the overall progression of the game. And initially it'll cost 2 scouts to be able to smuggle resources. You can upgrade it so it costs less, but initially when you've only got a couple of scouts, this is quite a large cost. Now, conversely, if you run with this feature on, essentially that whole thing about having to scout everything is just like completely avoided. All of the objectives will just be marked on your map exactly where they are. You won't have to worry about this whatsoever. The benefits to this is that you can just go to these locations whenever you like. Another benefit that I noticed as well is that side quests will actually just be marked as well, because there are like side quest vendors that will only appear on the map if you get close to those areas, or if someone tells you about them, or if you've got a particular upgrade at your hideout. This will actually just mark them on your map as well, which is beneficial, so you don't have to find them either. Now, the benefit here really is that you can turn this feature on and off. So if you're not exactly sure if you want to run with this or not, then I would personally recommend to run with it off initially, because it is sort of a mechanic that the game wants you to interact with. So maybe run with it off, and then if you just decide, hey, this isn't for me, you can go into your settings, into gameplay, and then change the guided exploration mode. One setting that you can't change after you start the game is actually the canon mode. This is one that will disable all of the dialogue choices in the game. Now, there are dialogue choices as you would have remembered from, say, a Valhalla, an Odyssey, or an Origins, and I think it depends a little bit on whether you like the modern Assassin's Creeds or the old ones as to whether you run this, because it doesn't necessarily make a huge difference. Though if you do have this setting on, you can't change it later. So if you decide that maybe you did want those dialogue options, it's too late, you can't change it. Now, the benefits of having those dialogue options is that it will allow you to, say, recruit certain allies that maybe you wouldn't have been able to, or make decisions to not recruit certain allies that maybe you will just automatically because of that canon mode, or any of the romance dialogue options. They're all disabled, so you won't have access to them either. So there's different dialogue that you'll get access to by having this mode off, and you just won't see certain scenes or any of the romantic stuff. I was actually talking to one of the reviewers that completed the game on canon mode and didn't even know that there was like romance in the game at all. So it just depends on what your opinions are on whether you want those options, whether you want them to be presented to you or not. That's entirely up to you, but you can't change that option after you have started. So make sure you decide specifically what you want. Immersive mode is another setting that you can actually change later on, and it does actually have a pretty significant impact to just the overall vibes of the game. So what immersive mode does is when you toggle this on, it will lock the voiceover language to Japanese and blends Japanese and Portuguese dialogue for an immersive audio experience. So what that means is that everyone in the game more or less will speak Japanese and have different voice actors other than the individuals that speak Portuguese. Now, if you have this mode off, you'll get the English voice actors for Yasuke and Nawe, and they'll speak in their English tongue, as well as all of the NPCs that you meet in the game.
If you don't, you drink. This is going to end poorly for me.
This does have an impact on your overall feel of the game, and it does depend what you vibe with. What I'll do just to help you decide that decision now is I'll play Yasuke and Naoe in their English variants.
Don't shout. We must be discreet.
声を潜めろ。目立ちとうない。
So much for loyalty and doing your duty.
大役を任されておきながら忠義に背くとは。
So it is really up to you, and this is another one that you can change yourself, right? At any time, you can jump into the audio settings and toggle this on and off. It will just require a reload. Something to note that I did notice when I was tinkering with this is that some of the dialogue isn't entirely accurate to the Japanese voiceover with the English subtitles. The subtitles don't actually change regardless of whether immersive mode is on or off. They're always those same English subtitles, and you can sometimes pick up that the Japanese VO isn't the same as what the subtitles actually say.
安家は仲間だ。
Also, the like facial animations and like voice syncing doesn't appear to be as accurate as the English ones, so that is up to your own personal experience. In Assassin's Creed Shadows, you will do a lot of quick time events for both Naoe and Yasuke. Yasuke has katas that you'll need to do quick time events for, and Naoe has the Kuchigiri like meditations that you'll need to time the quick time event presses. Now, if you don't like doing these, there are 3 different options that you can do. So the first is just default, which is just the normal mode where you'll need to press the buttons exactly as they are represented on the screen, and these are a bit more complex. For Naoe's Kuchigiris, these are like 4 different buttons that you need to press at these specific times, and for the katas with Yasuke, these are all of the combat buttons that you'll need to press, either holding them or tapping them or like pressing them at the right time. By going into your gameplay settings, you can change this to simplistic. This will just change it to simply a single button press. So regardless of what the action that they are doing, you'll just need to press that button. You don't have to worry about holding buttons or mashing them or doing anything. You just simply press the one button. The other option is auto, which will just auto complete these for you. So you can essentially just like sit back and like wait the 2 minutes that it takes for these to actually complete. The decision here is entirely up to you whether you like QuickTime events or not. Personally, I just don't like QuickTime events. It's just never been something I enjoy. I don't mind the Naoe Kuchigiri ones. They're a bit more zen and peaceful. The katas though require just too many button presses for my liking. The benefit to these is that you can quickly change it in the settings. It doesn't require a reload. So if you arrive at one of these locations like, I just want to auto complete this, you can just quickly change it to auto, sit back, relax, let it complete for you, and then you can move on to the next setting that you should change, which is the area loot. This is also found under gameplay. Essentially what this does is it means you don't have to go to each individual location and loot the corpses when you do take them out. This will just like have a area of effect that will pick up all the loot around you. It's a small setting that is worth changing. It's not necessarily going to, you know, revolutionize your gameplay. It's just like a nice to have quality of life thing that you should definitely tinker and turn on. Now, for this last one, I am genuinely interested to know what you guys prefer. And this is the guaranteed assassination. So in the difficulty tuning under gameplay, you can toggle the option to have guaranteed assassinations. Now, what this will do is mostly with Naoe, because that's basically how you'll do all your assassinating, is that it will guarantee that any assassination attack will auto kill the target. Now, it's a little different here generally than the more modern Assassin's Creed that have like these health segments that you'll need to take out. There is like targets that will be too high a level that you won't even be able to assassinate at all. And by toggling this on, it does just allow you to assassinate, like this samurai that I'm showing in this footage here. But there is also like the health segments that you can increase pretty easily via your mastery points and the skill trees with Naoe, as well as being able to increase the health segments that you can take out with assassinations via your gear as well, via the perks you can put on your gear. So in this helmet here, I've got like an additional health segment that it takes off just by wearing this helmet because of the perk, right? So it's not as hard to say use this mechanic like without having the guaranteed assassinations. And I like the progression of increasing those health segments as you progress through the game and finding the perks that are actually relevant for it. Personally, I run with this off because I just like the progression of it, but I do understand that some people don't like that. Also, it does trivialize some of the combat a little bit if you do have this turned on, because you can take out any target, even if they're significantly higher level than you, in areas you're not supposed to be. They've got a skull icon. They might have a million health segments. You could just assassinate them. It doesn't matter. But you might like that gameplay. That's entirely up to you. And I am curious in the comments. Let me know if you prefer guaranteed assassinations or not. But thank you guys for watching this video till the end. Thank you to our members for supporting the channel. My name is Norza, and I hope you have a great day.